Order all your half-shell favorites for takeout or delivery. Visit www.halfshelloysterhouse.com to browse the familiar menu and place your delivery or takeout order in minutes. Same menu prices, just a $5 flat delivery fee every time at Half Shell Oyster House, located at 115 Lower Park Cove, Suite 105, Flowood, Mississippi, 39232, or you can give us a call at 769-257-7586. And oh yeah, tell them Sonya sent you.
She say sports. She say sports. She say sports. She say sports.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonya, and welcome back to She Say Sports. Boy, do I have a treat for y'all today. I have with me the thrill of 1,000 eyes, the former members of the legendary Prancing J-Settes. What's even more beautiful about this show, I have J-Settes from each era of the 50 years. How dope is that? Thank you, Stephanie, for helping me with this one. I appreciate it, sis. So please welcome from the Blakely era, Miss Rita Royal Walker. From the Otis era, Pamela Gordon, Charlotte Collins, Marquise Cassie, and Stephanie Vaughn. From the Worthy era, Anitra Bender and Afrishana Butler. And last but not least, from the current Crowley era, Mary Sampson. Hey ladies, how y'all doing today?
Doing fine. How are you doing?
I am doing well. I've been so excited about this show, and happy 50th anniversary. So
Thank you.
So please tell the listeners a little bit about yourselves and really just what era you came from, how many years you performed, and what you're doing now. So, Miss Rita.
Okay, my name is Rita Royal Walker. The Shirley Blakely era was my era. I was there for 3 years. I was captain of the J-Settes for 2 years. I enjoyed every moment and then some of being in the band. I was a teacher for 37 years. I'm retired now. I had a wonderful time as a teacher, but being a J-Sette was like the thrill of my 1,000 eyes. So wow. I enjoyed it. The crowd was so wonderful to us. It was like we were all theirs and nobody else's. And everywhere we went, everybody wanted to know, who are they and where did they come from? Wow. Even the Dallas Cowboys, they had Shirley Blakely to give her analysis of how she chose each J-Sette. And because of some of the characteristics that we had, they had to know how they had to pick their girls.
And we're gonna get to that story because I got that. When I heard that, I was floored. I was like, wow. So we're gonna get to that story shortly. Okay. Pam.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, I'm Pamela Tucker Gordon. I'm from the Nera Otis era from 81 to 83. I marched on the field for 3 years. Currently, I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm in education, waiting to retire, Rita. I'm not quite there yet, yes, but it was just some of my fondest memories of being at Jackson State, was being a part of the Prancing J-Sette squad. One thing I do regret is I'm always looking for pictures and video. Okay, we didn't have all that camera back then. Right. And I wanted to ask my mom, did y'all not take any pictures of me when I was out there? So it's, I don't see anything. I have 1 or 2 pictures and that's it. It's all in my head. So I always have to say, remember what I left from the field because there is no video.
Awesome. So Charlotte.
My name is Charlotte Taylor Collins. I danced under the Nera Otis era from 1984 through 88. And I think I was co-captain. I don't know if it was the last 2 years or just the last year. I can't remember. Okay. As a little girl, my grandparents lived in the Dishon.
Mhm.
So when I was 5 or 6, we would sneak out of the house when we would hear the band playing, and it would be late. We're talking like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
We'd sneak out, and I would go up there and stand right beside those J-Sets and try to get those moves. So I went to Jackson State to be a J-Set.
Wow. So that was on
That
your
that
mind.
was my dream,
Wow.
and it was so fulfilled. That was definitely one of the highlights of my life.
Wow.
Not
That's
only just
awesome.
dancing, but the sisterhood and the bonds that a lot of us still have today. It was a wonderful experience. It's hard to put into words.
That's amazing. Wow. Marquise.
Hi, everybody. Hey, Sonia.
Hey.
Thank you so much for gathering us and just allowing us to tell our stories. I actually am the same as Charlotte. My mother was a teacher at Jackson State basically all my life. So I was at Jackson State just about every day of my youth. My dad was a graduate, so we went to all the games, and my goal in life was to be a J-Sette.
Wow.
So as I came through high school, I went to private school, so we danced a little bit differently at private schools. So as I graduated high school, I took a little detour from dancing, but I graduated back to it. And so I marched from 90 to 93. I was co-captain in, 92 and captain in 93. I'm now the Dean of Instruction at Hines Community College. I've been teaching math and administration based for 26 years.
Okay.
So joyfully, I've started a majorette squad at the Utica campus. We call them the Utica Dolls.
Mhm.
And we are basically just following in that love for dance that I have. So I must agree, being a J-Sette was one of the highlights of my entire life. There's nothing like the camaraderie and the teaching that you receive when you're working in that type of atmosphere with women who are motivated and confident, and that builds something within you. So it definitely was a great experience.
That's awesome. Stephanie.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Vaughn, and I danced from 1990 and 91. And by me not having any sisters, I just love the J-Sets because of the sisterhood.
Mhm.
So I am still friends and with all old ones, the more seasoned ones. They used to come back and show us how to salt and pepper. So we always learn from the alumni. So like me and Charlotte still fuss and talk all the time. Make sure she get her t-shirts, you know.
Right.
Look,
She keeps me in line.
my big sisters took care of me then, and I take care of them now.
But hey, that's how it's supposed to be. Okay. And Anitra.
Hey, I'm Anitra Bender, and I pranced from 2001 to 2005. I graduated from Lanier High School, and back in my day, all of the Rangerettes made J-Sette. Well, my first couple of times trying out, I did not make it because it was either the body cut, I was too thick, or I could not remember the dance on Sunday. So my dream was to go to Jackson State only to dance. That's the only reason I wanted to go to, sister. Somebody said that earlier.
Charlotte.
So I told my brother, he was in the boom. I told him, if I don't make J-Sette, I'm not going. And if I don't make it my freshman year to be able to dance all 4 years, I'm not going. I finally made it, and I pranced for 4 years. I was able to take my first flight thanks to Jackson State University and the Princeton J-Sette Sonic Boom. We performed at the 34th NAACP Image Awards my sophomore year. I met so many stars. I learned so much about myself, so much about sisterhood. I was a J-Sette before I was a Delta, so I'm an only girl too. So I didn't have sisters growing up, but the J-Settes and the alumni J-Settes taught me about sisterhood well before Delta Sigma Theta. So I'm appreciative to them and to Miss Worthy. I'm a worthy girl. For instilling in me so many things that I did not know about myself and did not know about being how to be to other women. So with the Alumni J-Sette organization, I too keep in contact and have made friends and bonds and sisterly bonds with other women that are alumni J-Sets, and I'm just thankful that I was able to be the thrill of those million eyes.
Awesome, awesome. Afrishana?
Hello, Sonia. Thank you for having me on a part of this momentous occasion, sharing our stories. I am a graduate of Jackson State. I pranced from 96, my freshman year, to 2000, my senior year. I was selected as captain in fall of 98 and fall of 99. Just and wanting to know, I mean, J-Sette was a movement. It still is a movement.
Yeah.
It's one of those, it's a world-renowned organization of women that, to me, that does more than dance. I mean, thousands of young ladies, they look at us, they look up to us as almost like stars, you know, but it's just it's almost like you can't explain it. I would say that I had the best of both worlds. You've listed me as a worthy girl, which I am, but I actually came in under Miss Nara Otis. Miss
Okay.
Otis was director, yes, but it's fine because I danced, you know, under both. But Miss Otis was there in 1996, which was her last year. And Miss Worthy came in 97. So that's why I always tell people that I got to experience, or I had the best of both worlds, because I got to learn from Miss Nara Otis. And then when Miss Worthy came in, I mean, Miss Worthy was a prince and J-Sette herself. And so she knew the style, she knew everything. But when she came in, she wanted to take it to another level. And so the level that you're seeing now and what Miss Crowley is doing, it's just an evolution, you know, all of those directors put together. So like I said, I'm glad to be here, and I know you have more questions for us.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I got questions. And the baby, last but not least, Mary.
Hi, my name is Mary Sampson. I am a 2021 graduate of Jackson State University. I am currently in grad school getting my master's in biomedical science.
Wow.
And I was a J-Sette from 2017 until 2021. I think that the greatest thing about being a J-Sette was being able to make those bonds, not only with the current squad, but with the alumni, as you can see. I've been able to just connect with so many people in so many different areas. And I think the fondest memory that I have was being able to go to New York and do a commercial with Mac. And it was a great experience. Just being in New York, just being chauffeured around. It was just an amazing experience. Even to this day, I'm still getting opportunities to go and teach girls in California and every other place. So Prince and Jay says it's more than just college. And I'm glad I was able to experience it when I did.
That's awesome. That's great. So, ladies, this is a very exciting time for you. October 16th is approaching us very fast. So who's performing, who's marching, who's doing what? Raise your hand, who marching?
Let me start, Sonia.
Okay.
I think I was the most excited out of all the alumni J-Sets to perform until I fell. And I have a torn meniscus and a torn ACL. So unfortunately, I will not be.
No.
Yes, don't make me cry because it's emotional. But I'm just gonna be there to support them and just be there for my sisters.
I hate that. I'm so sorry, Anitra. Oh my gosh, that sucks. So look, you about to laugh. So let me tell y'all my story, because I want to look at Stephanie. I want to be a J-Sette so bad, and Charlotte know this too. When I was, well, no, I don't want to get into that because it goes into what I talk about Charlotte. So I'll wait. Who else is marching?
I want to say that
Who's performing?
I'm performing.
Okay. And well,
I'm Afrishana. I'm performing. I'm marching in and I'm performing on the field at halftime.
okay, awesome. Okay, great. So now, Miss Rita, I heard you're the historian of the group. That's what I heard. And I heard you got all the business, all the tea. So I'm coming to you because I need to know, how did the J-Settes become the J-Settes? Because I know you know, they had the ladies with the batons at first. So how did it become?
We became the J-Settes because of Shirley Blakely. She said that it was a good thing that we were using batons, but we were not really using them all in synchronization. So
Okay.
she wanted us to be synchronized. And when she decided to drop the batons after the president decided it was a good thing, because without him, we couldn't do anything. We became very organized, synchronized. We were like the motion of the ocean. We were moving all together. And whenever we entered the stadium, because she wanted us to look identical, even though we were different shades of blackness, we did look identical. Hands, toes, feet, hips, everything, hair, everything was exactly alike. And we were always called ladies. She referred to us as ladies. And so the crowd always looked at us as young ladies. Because of Shirley, she was trained in ballet. Number one, we had to have the torso up, everything tucked under. And when the crowd saw that, they looked at us and said, wow, there have to be a thrill of 1,000 eyes. And so when I hear a thrill of 1 billion, trillion, and what have you, the first thing I think about, well, we started with 1,000.
Started with 1,000. That's right. That's right. So, okay, so I was told this story. You guys went to go perform, the Blakely era, went to go perform at a Dallas Cowboys game.
Right. And upon Shirley's and the group returning to Jackson State, there was a call placed to Mr. Houghton in the band, asking if they could talk to Shirley to see what her criteria was for selecting the prancing J-Settes. They wanted to know, how in the world could you get a group of girls to dance? So I want to say they were perfected. We were perfected. They were all moving at the same time. Everybody had the same smile. It was like each girl grabbed what the next girl was doing. We did the exact same thing, and they wanted the same thing. So they decided after they talked to Shirley that they would use some of her criteria for selecting them.
For the cowgirls.
Yes, for the Dallas
cheerleaders.
Cowboy Cheerleaders. Yes, yes.
Wow.
Right, and that was a
amazing.
tribute to us. And we were also a member of the first group of Battle of the Band. We were in Braniff, Texas, and that's where it all started, the Battle of the Bands there.
Wow. I did not know that. So, Miss Rita, my cousin used to dance with you. She passed away in '96, but I heard that you all were honoring her, Elizabeth Ann Crawford.
Oh, yes.
That's
Oh,
my cousin.
yes. Oh, I have
And-
chills. Yes, yes. Yes,
And-
she was wonderful. That smile and her teeth, you could see them for miles and miles. I mean, it was like she was the epitome of a J-Sette.
Wow. How was it working with her? Was she, like, how was it working with Liz?
She was a perfectionist. If things were not right, she would say, no, that's wrong. I need you to do it this way. And whenever we went to practice, we were told to always put our feelings in our pocket, because everything had to be done exactly right, the way it should be done. But as soon as she would finish criticizing you, she'd do this.
Well, and guess what? Her daughter, Cantrell, is just like that. She is Liz #2. So, wow, that is amazing. Thank y'all so much for honoring her. If she was here, when I say this would be like the highlight of her year with this anniversary, she would, because she talked about her dancing all the time and what she used to do. And so she loved being a J-Sette.
I hope you have some pictures of her. I hope you have the pictures of her being a J-Set. I mean, just beautiful.
Cantrell does have some. I'm gonna probably add it to the promotional flyer for this show. So I'm gonna try to get them.
Okay.
So Pamela, you were from the beginning of the Oakley era. And in that era, the J-Sette Walk was born. Can you tell us how you guys came up with the J-Sette Walk?
When I came, they were doing it already. And
Excuse me.
something.
Excuse me.
Yeah, they were.
This,
Yeah, like I
excuse
said,
me, this is Miss
they were doing the
Rita
J-Sette
Royal
Walk,
Butler.
and we had to try to do it like it was being done. So I'm not
Thank
gonna
you.
say it started with us. When I came in
Okay.
81, I had to learn it and I had to get it right. And Paula Haynes made sure I had it right.
Okay.
So yeah, so it was something and that we learned as we were going. And like I said, when we came in, that was one thing that you had to be perfect with your marches. That's salt and pepper. You had to be able to do that J-Sette, the strut. You had to be able to do that. We even had one that, I don't know if they still call it that today, but the I'm So Pretty, where you would have your little fingertip out and you would be sitting there marching saying, I'm so pretty, I'm so pretty. So yes, we did that one as well. So it came around full circle. And again, the alumni, as with Stephanie, would come and they would be sure we was doing it right because it had to be passed down the correct way. And I know through the years, some things have changed. It's not quite as it used to be, or they might have added an extra little twirl or extra little twist, but it's still the J-Sette. It's still the J-Sette march. It is.
So you mentioned the salt and pepper. So that is the,
Yeah, that's when you actually
because it's kind of like
shaking salt and pepper, salt and pepper, salt
that
and
makes
pepper.
sense. I just caught that today.
Oh my, yeah, that's what we call it, because you shaking some salt and pepper, salt and pepper.
Oh, interesting. You know, and you also have a special bond to the J-Settes. Your daughter, Kayla Gordon, followed in your footsteps, well, your dance steps. She was also captain of the J-Settes a couple of years ago, I believe. How did it
she
feel?
was the captain 18 and 19, I believe. She started in 16, 17. She was the captain 18 and 19.
18
and that, I know there are other mother-daughter teams out there from J-Sette, but that is the most awesome feeling that you can feel, is to see your daughter out there and you know you were out there. And I can remember when she was a little girl, I would put her in the mirror and teach her the marches. And I guess I was setting her up then. So she had to fall into place. And it was a wonderful feeling 2 years ago, I guess in 17 or 18, Mary, you got to help me out. But we came back, and for me to be marching behind her, going into that stadium, you know, I just literally cried because that was just an awesome feeling. And it's something I'll never forget. And then now to come back and march with her as an alumni, I just thank God for that grace, because that's awesome. That's a blessing. And you know, a lot of people don't have that. You know, I wasn't a teen mama. I was an old mama. But you know, but God still kept me, and I'm able to come out there and be able to share this moment with my J-Sette sisters, and then my daughter, that is not only my J-Sette sister, but my Sarah in Delta Sigma Theta as well.
That's awesome.
Wonderful.
You know, so how do you feel when you see the impact that she's making in the dance world? Because she's doing some amazing things. I follow her on IG. And I know she tried out for the Atlanta Hawks recently. And, you know, she's just been doing some amazing things. How does that make you feel as a mom?
You know what? I have been probably her biggest fan. And I really base my career on following her around. And I do when she goes, like I said, to different places to judge and to teach at different groups. You know, she'll say, Mama, you can go. I said, girl, I can catch a flight. You just ask me, I will be there. And I always follow her around. I enjoy doing it. I really do. In fact, she is doing some things right now, dancing at this moment. So, you know, it's, you know, I can enjoy watching her career. I don't think I ever had the passion to be a professional dancer. I had another passion, but because dance is something that I do love, and I'm so glad that it's something that she has as a passion. so I can enjoy that and watch her at a distance and can see my own dreams of the things that I would like to be able to have done, you know. And she's doing her own thing and she's going with it. You know, I'm not forcing her, I'm not pushing her. She took it to the next level. I always joke and say she get it from her mama, but she took it to another level. Her mama wasn't that good. I wasn't captain.
She doing some things. I mean, I'm so
took it
proud
to
of her.
another level. I'm telling you. So I'm very proud of her.
That's awesome. So Charlotte, this is what I was going to say earlier, and I'm glad I wanted to save it, but you were one of the J-Settes. You, when I first started at Jackson State, you, Mia, Teresa, Emily, and you all were the reason why I wanted to be a J-Sette. Not only did I want to be a J-Sette, I tried out. And my mom didn't want me to, you know, try out. So I was sneaking around and I did it. However, my cousin, you remember Assistant Director Byron Gregory?
Yes.
Okay, well, he told me and his daughter Serena to not try out, but we did. And he ended up being one of the judges and gave us zeros. So we still did not get a chance to dance. So fast forward to 2019, and we're at Freelance Day Party. So it's the infamous J-Sette dance wall. You know, it's all the J-Settes. And I'm usually with them, but I'm not sitting on the wall. But for some reason, I got out there early and I was like, oh my God. So it was Charlotte, Angelina, Emily, and Mia. And they were doing, you know, routines, and I'm following up behind them. You know, I was like, I can't believe this is happening. But, you know, I was hurting the next day, but it was so worth it. So my question is this, before I move forward. Now, you know, and I didn't realize all of us were Deltas pretty much on this call. But you know how in the Greek world, they have honorary Greeks. Do y'all have honorary J-Settes? Can y'all let me be one? Come on, y'all. Just let me hold a banner this at homecoming. Just let me hold a banner. Because I can't do no ramp. I can't march. I've been passed out at the 50-yard line. So just let me hold a banner and move. What y'all think?
So I don't have the
Look at Miss
authority.
Rita somehow. No.
I did not say that.
You should say.
No,
Kayla!
no, that means I'm very happy that you have
Hey,
that thought. And if everybody would have that thought, we'd all be out there together.
I know. You're right. You're right.
I love knowing that you have that thought.
Ma'am.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Kayla.
Just walked up.
We're so proud of you.
Thank you.
That
Hey,
is true.
Mary. Hey, Miss Stephanie.
Hey,
Hey,
Kayla.
Afrishana. Hey, Miss Anitra.
No, she's speaking there.
Hey, y'all.
Good to see you.
Good to
Hey,
see
y'all know I'm a techno dunce. How do I get everybody on my screen? Oh, well, I think I just saw it.
Found it. Okay.
Oh, there's
What do you do?
everybody.
Mary, Pamela, I want Kayla to come back and answer a question later, okay?
Okay, she had actually is going to a dance thing in about 10 minutes. So I want her to come right now.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Kayla, she like I said, she is actually getting ready for this performance. So they're rehearsing tonight with this dance group. Kayla.
Charlotte, I'm sorry, we're coming back, baby.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
I think she took my dog out because I had my door shut when she drove up.
Okay.
And he was scratching to get out. That's why I had to go blank screen right quick so she could take him out.
Okay.
So
well,
go on, and I'll call in here in a minute.
Okay. So Charlotte, go ahead.
So I don't have the authority to make you remember. However, Freelance Day Party, come back to the wall and we'll get those routines together again.
I'm gonna be there.
Okay.
I'm gonna be there. Look, this
you know that's the highlight of homecoming.
Fine, I'll take that. I'll take what I can get. So Charlotte, Speaking of Mia, Emily, Teresa, did you all try out for J-Sette together?
Uh,
And did the
the-
sisterhood
my,
form
my
then?
freshman year, when I was trying out, I had asthma as a child. I thought I had grown out of it. Had not had problems until I tried out for J-Sette and had a freaking asthma attack.
Wow.
And I could not continue. So my sophomore year, Teresa and I tried out together. And that's where we became friends. And I think Mia came along the following year. Mia,
Okay.
Laverne, and Emberly.
But then y'all all pledged Delta together.
Actually, I pledged 2 years ahead of them.
Okay.
And then
okay.
they pledged
And they
together.
were all together. Okay.
Mhm.
Gotcha. So you mentioned earlier about the sisterhood, and apparently the sisterhood started with you all through J-Sette. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So, and you guys are still like very close today. I mean, tell me about how becoming a J-Sette, how it brought y'all together. I mean, can you elaborate?
Well, basically, you spend so much time together because, you have to audition every week.
Mhm.
So you get together even after practice to make sure that, you're trying to help sure to make everybody has the routine down because you want your line sisters to make the cut.
Right.
But we also started doing things outside of J-Settes.
Okay.
So, that bond started with us working together so closely as J-Settes, but it filtered out into other areas of our lives.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
until this day, we still have that bond.
That's awesome. That is great. So, Marquise, if I remember correctly, you were a cheerleader before you became a J-Sette. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So you kind of answered earlier. So, but I'm gonna ask the question anyway because it's funny. So, what made you stop cheering and go shake your tail feather?
I guess a couple of things. I think kind of subtly, just all my life I had wanted to be a J-Sette.
Right.
I went to school. I was at the same school as Mia Trevelyan. She was my idol. Oh my God. She was a spirit stepper at St. Joe, and then I made spirit
Okay.
stepper, so we marched there. And then I followed her to Jackson State. I had to be a J-Sette, and she's a Delta, so everything Mia did, she was like that. I have to be that way. So.
Right.
When I was younger, Constance was in my mother's class. She was one of my mother's students, and she was a J-Sette captain, and she would actually take me to the practices. And, back then, if you're not around J-Settes, you don't understand. You idolize them. You literally idolize them. And so when I was there, I was just in awe, just awestruck. So when I became a cheerleader, yes, I wanted to be a J-Sette, but I was still a little bit starstruck. When they come around, you get really shy. You don't know what to say. But they were so warm and down to earth. And one thing about the J-Settes, they practice all the time. So I would be able to practice and do stands with them while they were practicing. They didn't mind others coming in on occasion. We would just kind of work out together. And so that just built that love that I had for it. And I knew I had to try out, especially when the young man who was my tumbler at the time, who actually is my brother-in-law, he dropped me. And he had dropped me a couple times prior. He dropped me in one of our stunts. So as soon as I hit the ground that last time, I think the third time was the charm. I got my bag. I just left cheerleading practice and went right around to the other side. It's like, hey, we're in the tryouts.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. My brother-in-law, Lee, dropped me on my head. Yeah. And so that canceled it. I was done with cheering, and I loved it, but it was a little bit different because it was so rigid. It wasn't the freestyle, shake your tail feather, let your hair down type of opportunity. And one thing about it, cheerleading under Miss Johnson, Miss BJ, it was amazing. She was also the co-sponsor for the J-Settes. But one thing BJ taught me is that, nobody can steal your joy. If you fall, you just have to get back up. So I love that about cheering. But when I got with Miss Otis in dance, she was like, hey, what you put out there on the field is what you decide to leave. And so I learned so much from both of those sponsors. but J-Sette again taught me leadership skills. It taught me how to deal with conflict and controversy. You know, you're supposed to wear one outfit to a game, and then something happens to the fringe. You know, what do? Miss Otis showed us you've got to be able to think on the spot and make those adjustments so that the show still goes forth to the most impeccable, top-notch, high-quality, explosive entertainment that you can give. So, yeah, that there was a lot of things that led up to my transition, but Ken dropped on my head was a good one.
Wow. Well, thank you, Lee, for dropping her 3 times. We appreciate it because we never would have saw you dance because I never knew. But I got to get back to you, but Kayla has to go. Kayla, real quick, like I told your mom, I've been following you on IG, so proud of you. The passion that you have for dance, was this as a little girl just watching your mother? How did this come up for you?
It started as a little girl. Me and my mom used to dance together. Like we would be 3 and we would just both be dancing in the mirror. So it started at a young age. And then it did grow when I got to college, I can say. I don't know, it's just like each step that I had took to dance, like in middle school, I did hip hop and jazz. And I always wanted to learn something different. Like I was always trying to just better myself in dance, no matter what it was. I just always wanted to learn something else new. Like once I mastered something or I felt like I mastered some style of dance, I always wanted to move on to the next step. So middle school, I was in a performing arts camp and we did different styles of dance, like jazz, hip hop. Then I wanted to move on to the band world. So I went to high school and I joined the auxiliary team in my high school. And then I felt like, all right, I'm tired of that. Now I'm ready to go to college and do J-Sette, which is completely different from my high school. And then it was like, okay, I'm tired of J-Sette. Now I want to get into heels. So it was just constantly always just want to not stay in the same thing, and just the love for dance itself that just always just makes me want to keep moving on. So now I'm here in Atlanta training, doing heels, doing hip hop, and hopefully aspiring to be a choreographer one day. And just shedding my, being able to teach dance, the fundamentals, and letting people know that I'm not just one genre type of dancer. You know, I've done it all. I've been on teams. I've been able to do it by myself. I've been able to perform on stages in front of crowds of 35,000. I've also been able to perform for 5 people and still make it work. So just being an all-around well dancer is just my passion. It's just dance.
Awesome. And what's so funny, you seem a little shy, but when you're on video, I watched it video you yesterday, and it's just like a whole different person. So you're like, that's your Sasha, like Beyonce, when you're on the stage. Totally different person. I'm gonna let you go because I know you have to go, but you were doing some classes here. So you know me, Stephanie. I was like, Ann, come on, let's go do it. But Ann wouldn't go with me, and you were not gonna be like, look, old lady, go away. So, but I am so proud of you. We all are proud of you. So congratulations on everything. Give your handle at IG so people can follow you.
I'll have it in the chat.
Okay. And I'll have her added. I'll have her added.
Kayla, this is Anitra. I judged the J-Sette tryouts the year you tried out at the AAC. And I remember your interview when you walked in the room, they were like, that's W.C. Gordon's granddaughter. I'm like,
so they was like royalty.
Yeah, you just knocked everybody out. You wowed everybody with your interview, to your poise, your grace, your speech, everything that you said. It was just phenomenal. Your outfit and everything, and you really did have a good representation for us as alumni J-Sette during your years as a Princeton J-Sette.
Thank you so much. That means so much to me coming from the alumni.
That's up. Miss Rita, you had a question?
Yes, I want to say when we saw Miss Gordon, the legends, we were in a room and we said, girls, we have come full circle when we saw her. I mean, you're really wonderful. We enjoyed seeing you. We enjoy you 100%. You were a definite asset, and I want you to know that. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
That means so much to me. It really, really does. Okay. You know, just being a J-Sette and being in their world, everybody has an opinion. So just hearing it from the legends yourselves is just, it just really means a lot. And I feel like I have big shoes to fill. So I just try my best to make it
You
work.
feel them.
Awesome.
I try my best. Yeah. And as you said, I'm not that shy. My mom just knows speaking in front of people is not my forte sometimes. So like I said, I'd rather dance. And my voice is still kind of going from the first home game this weekend. So I'm trying to recover from that.
Yeah, we all was screaming at the end.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on everything. And, you know, we're proud of you. Just keep moving, sister, because we watch.
Thank you. I will. Love you guys. See y'all. Homecoming.
Okay. See you in a few weeks. Okay, so Marquise, back to you. So Marquise, you were the only one on this panel tonight that actually performed at the 30th Motown award show. Tell us about that experience for you.
Oh, wow, that I think I still watch the clips now, and I still get chills. It's just, you know, you never believe you'll be a part of something that magnificent. And I'm so proud of the young ladies who have gone to New York and who went back to the Motown programs. When we went, we drove by bus. Now, Mr. Taylor, one thing about our band director, he did not fly. And so we took a bus from Jackson, Mississippi, Jackson State University, and we drove to California. So it was a 2.5-day ride on the bus there. It took us 2 days to actually tape the show. And you really got to understand the dynamics of a production. Right. Because we ran that down so many times. We started at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We didn't actually tape until 7 o'clock that night. That's why you see the sun is kind of going down behind us. So we ended at the door. And then the next day, when the actual program was taking place, we were standing ready at the door when they played the first part of the video for the guests inside. And then we marched in, and it was so wonderful, standing ovation. And I'm getting chills now. I'm so excited.
Me too.
But it was just for someone 19 years old to experience that type of programmatic, you know, event. You don't get that everywhere. And so I am so appreciative to our band directors and all of the administrators at Jackson State for allowing those types of opportunities. I got to meet Stevie Wonder, who is my idol. I love Stevie. Wow. I got to shake his hand. And so those, you know, the connection that you have with your sister, there were 6 of us who actually traveled. And as a first year J-Sette, you know, back then, first year girls did not perform except homecoming and Alcorn. So it was just it was a shock, but it was just a wonderful opportunity. And I'm just so thankful to have been a part. We also went to the All-Star game that year. And,
yeah, that's right, in Charlotte, right?
Yeah, in Charlotte. So we met all the basketball stars, and it's just a wonderful opportunity being a part of that organization.
So it was, you say it was you, Gilia, Julie, who else?
Julie Petite, and Katina Jerry. So there were 6 of us.
I remember we were in our dorm room. I'm talking about, we was screaming when y'all, because it's like, we see these people every day at school, and y'all are like, I mean, especially in the 90s, that was something. We was like just screaming, and I'm so proud of you guys. And I know all of y'all can remember, well, except Mary and Anitra.
I remember my husband performed Motown 30.
Yeah. You said.
Well, I know Mary was still with Jesus, but I know all of us can remember where we were when, you know, when that happened. I mean, that was so amazing. Just so proud of you guys. Just so proud.
I was living in Florida, and I was so
jealous. That's still going on. They're still taking those types of trips and exposing our young women to those opportunities to be ladies and to represent the way that they do. It's just an awesome experience.
Right. Charlotte, what were you saying?
We were so envious of you all. It's like, why couldn't it happen to us?
Because you missed it by what, a couple of years?
I don't know, but we were jealous.
I can remember how excited I was when I saw them doing that. I mean, I was living here in Atlanta, I was just jumping up and screaming, yo, Jackson State, they on TV, they on Motown. Oh my God. So I felt those chills y'all were having because I was having them also.
I was too.
It's definitely exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting,
So
exciting.
now the baby of the Otis era, well, I found out Afrishana is too, but I was meaning Stephanie. Stephanie, I've known Stephanie since she was in high school, and you know, she was dancing then. Was it a dream for you to be a J-Sette, Stephanie? Come on. Stop being shy. Come on.
Well, not really.
Not really?
One year, I ain't never told nobody this. So don't try to get me.
Look at Anitra.
I'm sorry. But okay, so you know, I was kind of thick. And one year we played Texas Southern. And those girls came down the field and they was coming down from the end zone. And I said, ooh, wait a minute, just being honest now. Because not that I wanted to go to Texas Southern, but I'm just saying those girls had hips and they was, so I said, I like them, but they really though, honestly, that's when I started just observing all the HBCUs and watching all the dancing girls too.
Right. So okay, but that's what was you thought you was too thick to be a J-Sette?
Well, you know, back then we had body cut and you had like look at this.
Thank you, Miss Rita. Thank you.
We had hips on.
Rita. That's right.
And we had weight. I mean, you know, you had to have a certain weight by your height and all, you know, different, you know, different rules and stuff. So I was 5'8" and I couldn't weigh over 140. My freshman year, I was 135. And then my second year, some kind of way I eased up. And Ms. Otis was like, okay, no more than 138. So yeah. So, and we had to stick to that. And before you could do cut, you had to weigh on that scale. Or if you was a pound over, you know, she'll see you next week.
That's right.
So,
wow.
So you starve all that next week.
All that next week, I eat baked chicken and string beans.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a balanced meal. You had your protein and your greens and you were drinking water. So, so, you know, coming from Callaway Chargette, was it more strenuous preparing for games with being a J-Sette?
Oh, because see, when we was J-Sets, and I don't know, I know things changed, but we used to practice from 2 to 5, 6 until. So we had to have all our classes out the way by 2. And I remember having a class that ended at 1:50, and I'm running across the campus trying to get to practice. And then we had that 1 hour break, and we'll run to Kentucky and split a box of chicken, Marquise, and run back to practice. You know, so yeah, then from 6 until, I mean, really until, it could be 9, 10.
Oh my gosh.
Until.
That's true.
Until you got it right.
Until we got it right.
Wow. So, you are a part of a brother-sister duo thing, J-Sette and a drum major. Your brother, and I think it's y'all the only 2 out of the history of the boom. Is that correct?
I don't know
so, because I heard Anitra say her brother. Anitra, your brother was in the band, right?
Yes, he played trombone. He wasn't a drum major.
Okay, so I believe you all are the only duo in the history of the boom, sister J-Sette, brother drum major. As y'all all know, Ira was one of the most infamous drum majors of the boom, if you will. And you got to perform with him your freshman year. How was it being on the field with him, seeing him do his thing and you actually performing with him?
It was very exciting because he and I, we never went to school together because we're like 5 years apart. So it was very, and I think that's probably made me lean towards that, because being around, coming to every football game, we made sure we was at every game that he performed at. So like you said, being around the J-Sets, Mia Trevelyan is one of them. She's the one who taught me my dance to try out for J-Sette. So I had those, have her in my life. And just, it was neat. It was real neat. I have a couple of, we have some funniest memories that
Tell me one.
we share together. So one of them was, we used to have to run 2 miles in 18 minutes.
Oh
I
my.
think that's right. When is 18 minute, Marquise?
Ann says
Yeah.
16 minutes.
I think it's 18.
Okay.
18, yeah, 2 miles, 18 minutes. So I was never a runner. I mean, I ain't never ran in my life. So I guess by my big brother being the head drum major, he was flexible, he could come around. So when I be out there getting ready to run on that Thursday, I think before it cut, he would come out there and cheer me on and he'll say, go baby girl. And I'd be running, I'd be about to die. And we had one, Katina Gerald, she was a track star. So when you run and you see her legs come beside you, you like, God, dog, I ain't gonna make it. You already knew, you like, I ain't gonna make it. But the one beautiful thing about my sisters, once they finished, they will come and get you, grab your hand, and they will run with you and tell you, come on, you can do it.
That's
So
great.
that was one good thing, one sweet thing. And then I got one more. Then we was on the field. My first time I performed was the Southern Heritage Classic. Oh my God. So I looked in the stadium and I saw people all the way around me and I almost like just freaked out. I was like, oh my God, if I mess up, somebody gonna see it. So when I got on the field, we was dancing and I heard this voice from nowhere say, breathe, baby girl, breathe. Like, huh?
Honey, he saw you.
So he was like, he saw me, I wasn't breathing. So I was like, okay. And I thought I would never forget that. I mean, because that was just like so sweet. I got one more.
Yeah.
And that was so sweet. And my last one is, I fuss all the time about the drum majors in front of the girls. So when we marched in, the drum majors was behind us.
Okay.
And one game we was getting ready to march in. And as I got ready to take off, I went backwards. And I was like, what happened? So my brother was back there pulling on my cape.
See, you know what?
Thinking I done stepped on my cape or something. I'm like, and then I look back at him, he just falling out laughing. So we had it was some fun memories. I mean, and then nobody even know that was going on back there, you know. So we had our own lit.
You just had to keep being professional and keep it moving.
Right. And then I told him, I'm gonna tell my mom on you.
Right. So was Ira the consummate big brother, or did he just let you experience being a student and being a J-Sette while you were there with him?
He just let me experience it. He just
That's good.
He just let me experience it.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Cool. So now Anitra and Afrishana, where's Afrishana? Oh, there she is. Because I know you've been in and out. Afrishana was a part of the last year of Otis and of Worthy. From what made you ladies want to be a J-Sette? And I think Anitra may have mentioned earlier. Anitra, you start off.
Anitra's after me. She came after me. So do you want me to go first and then her?
I want if she came after Afrishana came after you.
No, Anitra came after Afrishana.
Oh yeah, you go Afrishana. I forgot you was Otis. Go ahead, baby. Yes.
Okay. So what's your question?
What made how did your journey begin with the J-Settes?
Okay, well, a little different from everyone else. I'm from a small town called Utica, Mississippi.
That's where my family is from.
Yeah, well, we might be related, girl.
I'm a Stamps. Yeah.
I know some Stamps. Yeah, I probably
we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, hit me up. So I went to the high school, Hines Agricultural High School, and let me back up. My love for dance started when I was young. I danced under the leadership of Mrs. Esther Owen. She was over the Mahogany Dance Group, like the community dance group that you see now. So I started there like second grade, and then I went on to high school and I started to dance. Where we live, we're closer to Alcorn. So everybody that I knew, they were going to Alcorn to be Golden Girl. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be no Golden Girl, you know, because I mean, we saw that all the time. But you know, my family and I, we would go to the games. But one person in particular, Janice Strong, Tate, who is an alumni J-Sette, she is sister to one of my best friends, Faith. And so we would see her when she was a J-Sette. She would come home. We would be like, "Oh, Janice, what did y'all do?" You know, she would be showing us, you know, the routines. And Black and Blue was one of my favorites that, you know, y'all did way back when. But she would just show us stuff. And so that was one person that I knew for sure, like, I know I want to go to Jackson State. But like I said, growing up down there, you could see everybody going to Alcorn. That actually pushed me even more. My family attended JSU, and so that was just a dream for me, you know, leaving there. And I tried out my freshman year, 96. Like I said, the first audition, I did not make it. Oh, devastated. Everybody was like, "Oh, come back, Afrishana," you know, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, and you know, you're feeling some type of way. Like Anitra said, you know, but if you don't be a J-Sette, well, I still knew I wanted to go to Jackson State, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it another try. And I went back, tried out in the summer, and then they used to post your name and number on the door. Miss Otis and them did. And so when I did make it that second time, girl, it was on. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of work, as all of the other my sisters on the call have stated. I mean, it was a job. Then we practiced. We had the schedule similar to what Stephanie stated, that you know you had to get your classwork out of the way, and then you go from 2 to whatever, and then come back 6 until. We would even get up and go running in the morning before class, and that just like the killers. But you know, it was a challenge. It was something that you want to do. And I can remember one time, and I tell people this and I laugh, when we would running wasn't my thing either, Stephanie. So we had to do the 2 miles in 18 minutes as well. And girl, I tore my hamstring my freshman year. So I couldn't audition. I didn't dance until like middle of the homecoming. I was just like, I might as well just quit. But you know, I kept on at it, and I did. And so I probably gave you a little bit too much, but that's where my journey started. And from then I, you know, continued dancing for the remainder of the 3 years, and that was it.
So, and you know, and you ladies, both of you were from the Millennium Group. That's what they called y'all. But you started the stunts. Tell me about this elbow cartwheel. So let me tell you something. Now I told y'all, I can't do the ramps and stuff, but that elbow cartwheel sound like something I will break my elbow. So can you explain to me what that is, and how did y'all come up with that?
So that was the elbow cartwheel was my last year. Like I said, I graduated in 2000. So first of all, let me say, Miss Worthy was one that she loved high impact. She wanted to see where, not saying that the other eras before us didn't do splits and cartwheels and all this kind of stuff, but Miss Worthy wanted to see where the entire squad, she wanted everybody, like a cheerleading competition team, everybody to be able, if you hitting the back bend, everybody hitting the back bend. If you're doing a walking, you know, all of that stuff. And so the elbow cartwheel came about, I think it was maybe 2000. I didn't get to do swoop, but we recreated a second routine to swoop. And Miss Worthy came in, it was gonna be the audition, you know, for the next year's line. And I made up that routine. And she came in and she said, and she would do this all the time. She would write it down, or she would see this stuff somewhere and she would write it on a piece of paper. She'd come back and she said, "Okay, Afrishana, I was watching this cheerleader competition, and I want you to see if you can do a cartwheel on your elbows." I looked at Miss Worthy, I said, "Huh?" You know, and she said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." So I tried from standing up, and I just kept working at it until I got it. And when I got it, she would do this thing and she would say, "Bam," you know, that's it. And it came about. But back then, I mean, like, I go to work, we did a death drop, all of that stuff. So we just started doing stunts. I know the girls now are doing even more, but back bends, toe touches, elbow cartwheels, you name it, we started that. And we danced in our Nancy boots, and you'll see how the young ladies have transitioned to using the dance shoes. We had the lyrical sandal, and we would use that shoe when we would do, a lot of those moves. But that was another thing. Some people ask, why y'all don't wear Nancy boots no more? Asking the girls on the field. Well, that was one of the reasons why Miss Worthy kind of transitioned to that, because they were doing more stunts, and she wanted them to be able to do them and then not hurt themselves in those jazz boots. And she was really big on, pointing your toes and doing all of that. So even with J-Sette auditions, Ms. Worthy incorporated the agility test, where you see the girls have to demonstrate the rollovers, the cartwheels, the back bends. All of that came about when she was there, because she wanted to make sure if you got on that squad, you can do these things. There's no reason, they weren't doing the alternate thing anymore. You were all of that kind of stuff. You needed to be able to do those moves. And so that's how all of that was birthed, I'll say.
Ooh, child, I wouldn't have been able to try out with y'all. They would have sent me out the door quick. So I saw a video actually of you and Director Worthy. Actually today you were doing, y'all were doing some dance and showing the world that you still got it. How did it feel performing with her? How was that?
Oh, it performing with her. I mean, it was outstanding. I felt great. When I was asked to do that, they were trying to, it was a last minute thing. Like, we need somebody from this era, this era, this era, this era. And Ms. Worthy's name came up. And when she and I were talking about it, she was like, girl, I don't know if I'm gonna do this. Ms. Worthy's like my mom, I guess my mom, another mama. And I was like, Ms. Worthy, no, you can do it. And that's why people will say, you want Ms. Worthy to do something, call Afrishana. She might be able to get her to do it. But she was like, I said, Ms. Worthy, come on, they need somebody from the 70s. You can do it. She said, I can't do no get ready. I said, well, just do the parts you can do. So it was a grand time. I mean, I enjoyed just seeing her out there having fun. And I mean, she was pushing me, because I was like, look, don't y'all record this kick, because I'm not kicking, I'm hitching. And she said, girl, you still got it. So it was just like dancing under her, and then just, her being my coach or leader or director, but just being that she's my sister too, and she's my soror. So it was a happy time. I enjoyed it.
That's awesome. So Anitra, you mentioned earlier about you having your first flight when you performed in 2003 at the NAACP Awards hosted by Cedric the Entertainer. Okay, so that's your first flight, and then you get to go to this major thing. What was did y'all have to try out for that? Okay.
Yes. It was a struggle for me. Every week was a struggle for me, because my memory was not as good as my sister's. So I couldn't remember. I knew the dance, but when I got in there, it's like I froze up, because it's only you and Miss Worthy and the captain. So all eyes are on you. And my first year, the captain was Quita, and she was a tell it like it is person. She didn't care nothing about, like Rita said, put your feelings in your pocket. That was how our practices were. There weren't any windows in the gym, so you don't know what time it is. You don't know what time you're gonna get out of practice. You just there. So when we got ready to go to the Image Awards, I think they were only picking a certain amount of people, and all my sisters made it, the first round or so, and I didn't come out to like the second round, but I did get to go. It was a life-changing experience. Going to the NAACP Image Awards, my grandma and her neighbors were so excited about it. It was not to air until like 2 weeks after we came back. So everybody was planning like a watch party to watch it on TV 2 weeks later. So while we were there, we got to meet and greet the stars. They were very nice to us. We took pictures, and my grandma's favorite star, Danny Glover, was there. And so I asked him, I said, call my grandma, will you just tell her hi? And he said, yeah. So we called grandma. She didn't answer the phone. So he was like, if we run into each other again this weekend or whatever, and call her back and I'll talk to her. Well, we got back to Jackson, and the next day my grandma passed.
No.
So she has no idea. She had no idea that he called her or any of that. She didn't
Oh
get to
my
see the Image
gosh.
Awards. But every time somebody posts that or I see that, it just brings back happy memories that, I could have shared that with her and she would have enjoyed that. But
She would have
being a
enjoyed
J-Sette
that.
is one of the best things in my life, besides my son and pledging Delta Sigma Theta.
That's awesome. So, it's and just for Danny Glover, that was nice of him to even want to do that. And, I mean, because they're regular people too, but sometimes they think more of themselves, but that was really kind. So how did you make yourself remember the routine for the program?
So going back, the main reason I wanted to be a J-Sette was from the legendary Keisha Jackson. Keisha was the director over the Lanier Rangerettes when I was in high school.
Okay.
So she was 24 and I was 14 when I met her. And she had that slant bob, one side long, one side short, with Rashad on her hip, just swinging
I can
her.
see her. I can see her.
She was hell, but she made a lot of us what we are, and she really deserves more credit than she gets. So she was like, if you ever try for J-Sette, you better make it, and you better do this and do that and do that. So I was determined to be a J-Sette. And a lot of the Rangerettes went on to be J-Sette. And I remember my first time trying out, I didn't make it. And one of the girls who was a sophomore went to Lanier, Latoya McMullen, we call her Doobie. She was like, you gonna be a J-Sette, you gonna make it. So one night they had cuts and she made it. And that night they issued uniforms. And that was her first time wearing Tiger Girl. She came to my house with Tiger Girl. She made me put it on. Keep in mind, I wasn't a J-Sette. But she made me put it on and she said, how do you feel? I said, I feel great. She said, well, this is your motivation to go out there and make it. And I made it the next time I tried out.
Wow. That's awesome. Now that's a friend. That's great because she knew that was in your heart. That is awesome. So last but certainly not least, the baby of the group. You've been so patient back there and waiting on your turn, boo. We have Mary and you're a part of the current era, Crowley era. Now, Mary, you come from a long line of dazzling dancers and you've heard these stories tonight and I'm sure you've heard more. How does it feel to be part of such of a rich legacy? How does it feel?
Well, it's an amazing experience and it's also a humbling experience. Just to know that over 50 years ago, ladies decided to do this. In 50 years today, there are girls who are continuing to do this. And a lot of we used to have this conversation all the time with Miss Crowley about how we're doing the same things, but over the years you have to keep up with what society is doing. So like the dancers now, they are, I don't know, like the team that we have right now, they are like amazing. Like the stunts, like everybody has their own thing. Like I look at them and I'm like, I was just on the team. It's like, I don't even think I could do that. And I was just with y'all. But it's the fact that, and similar to most of my big sisters, my cousin danced as a J-Sette. So, and I live 5 minutes away from campus. So I used to hear the band playing at nighttime. And my grandmother taught at Jackson State. My mom and my dad went there. So going to the games and literally seeing all these faces, just knowing that I knew that I wanted to be a J-Sette. And I really didn't think I was going to make it when I tried out, but I just tried out, just hoping I would. And when I did, it was just like, okay, so what do I do now? But anyway, just being able to make the connections that I have with so many of the alumni J-Settes, it's an amazing experience. Like even Miss Crowley, like how Afrishana talks about Miss Worthy. Miss Crowley and I, even though she's like only in her 30s and I'm 22, I look at her as my mother, but she always say, girl, I'm not your mom, I'm your big sister. So a lot of times it's like when I was on the team, my freshman year, I was really quiet and you wouldn't think so because I talk so much now. But freshman year, I was really quiet and a lot of times I didn't fit in with the team. But Miss Carly used to pull me inside and be like, girl, you're going to have to come on. If you want to be a J-Sette, you're going to have to bring it out. So yeah, it's just an amazing experience to come and dance behind so many people who paved the way for us.
I can imagine. And, so the ramp walk, Explain the feeling that used to go through you when you would hear thousands of people in a frenzy. How did that, I'm getting chills now just thinking about it because I want to do it so bad. Tell me, how did that make you feel?
I'll go back to my first time, like the very first time I marched in. So like it's different from being at the stadium and watching the J-Settes. So like you said, when you watch the J-Settes, you get chills. Like even now, like at the game on Saturday, I got chills when I saw the J-Settes and I was once in their shoes.
Right.
But the very first time I marched into the stadium and it was packed. Like it was people sitting like right there, like, you know, in the U, like as soon as you're marching, it was people screaming and you had cameras in the face. Like it was cameras, like I really couldn't breathe. Like Miss Charlotte said she felt like she had an asthma attack. I don't have asthma, but I had really bad anxiety. So like it was just so much, and I was just like, I couldn't remember get ready. Like it was just like my mind went blank. Like I was just like, what is this? But as soon as Get Ready came on and we marched up and we got to the ramp, and I remember Jasmine, I'm not sure if you know who that is, but Jasmine, every time I think about the ramp, I think about how Jasmine, and she starts pulling up the ramp and she turned her head. And I said, I gotta channel somebody, I gotta do something. So that first ramp, it was just an amazing feeling. The screaming, all of it, it makes you nervous, but at the same time,
it's a rush.
Them screaming, it makes me feel like I'm Beyonce. You want a show? I'm gonna give you a show. So they're screaming for me. So that means that I got to give them what they want.
I love it.
Go up that ramp, it's over with. The show has begun, and that's what you're gonna get from me.
And I'm coming back to you, Mary. How did y'all feel doing a ramp? Miss Rita, did y'all do the ramp?
We didn't do the ramp, but we had the same rush that was just stated. I remember when we did Hot Pants Plus Make It Funky by James Brown, we said that was a sound that made us famous. So we thought we were famous when we came into the stadium with Get Ready, it was all over because we were saying, where is the stage?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
What about other ladies? How did it make y'all feel? I mean,
well, for me,
an unforgettable feeling. You remember it forever. I mean, like I said, they changed it up some. We didn't do the high kick. We did like a knee up. And I don't know why. I guess that's just what we did. And I can just remember being right up on the fans when we got, inside. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna give y'all some right now. You're gonna remember this. And I was, that was really when you can show your stuff coming up there. And then you're right there on the fans. And you think about it, you would think they would grab you, but they never did. They were so respectful. Always, nobody else, they loved us. Yes. And they still do. They love the J-Settes. And if somebody would have touched one of us, I believe every one of those fans would have jumped right on them and stopped it because we didn't even have to have security. The fans were the security.
The fans was
no mess with the J-Set. Okay.
It was the sound of the boots for me, girl. Just hearing the boots clack, clack. I love that. I love it.
She's
and for me,
actually,
I was gonna say
you're totally exhausted from that long, from marching all the way in and doing Get Ready. But when you get to that ramp and then you start hearing certain people call your name and you're hearing there they are, and you get the energy from the crowd.
Okay.
So like they said, give them what they want.
Give them what they want. So you get
it's like a fifth wind that comes out of nowhere.
Wow. That's amazing.
And don't leave out those blue and white capes. Like Anitra said, that clap, but that cape is hanging. So it's an experience that, like I think it was Petite, leave the ramp on fire. And that's what we always try to do. And even as an alumni J-Sette, that's what we plan to do. Leave that ramp.
Wow, that's awesome. So Mary, back to you. So like I said, you just graduated and you performed with Kayla. How does it feel? Because your era is the social media era. Y'all are all, y'all everywhere. Pam just
Mhm.
said earlier that she don't hardly have any pictures. Y'all got, it's pictures, it's videos, it's documentaries on the J-Settes now. The social media part, was it fun for you, or was it too much? Or what, a mixture of both?
I would say it was a mixture of both. Freshman year, it really, well, before I made the team in 17, everybody was going crazy for the J6s. And they still were. But in 17, for some reason, it kind of died down. Like they were still going crazy, but as far as like social media, people saying too much, it wasn't bad. It wasn't until 2018, 19, that's when it really got crazy. In a way, social media can have both very positive and both a very negative effect on the team, not only the team, but people individually. And one thing that I learned as a J-Sette, and even I still go and I talk to the girls all the time, and I also coach a team too. So the thing that I try to hone on, teach the girls is that when you make this team, whatever team you're on, it's not about what you want. It's about what the team wants. So when you made the J-Sette, whatever you did before you made J-Sette is irrelevant. You're supposed to dance as a unit. It doesn't matter if your kick is higher than mine or if you can do a split lower than mine. Everybody should be on the same playing field, other than the captain, of course. But I'm not a fan of how social media sometimes likes to pin people against each other.
Right.
And one thing that it doesn't emphasize the fact that we're a sisterhood. And so that's one of the reasons why I don't like social media too much, is because everybody has opinions, of course, and they are entitled to those. But what they don't understand is what dancers go through, specifically J-Settes. We have personal lives. We're in school. We are young ladies. We have relationship issues. And then, of course, we're young ladies, so everybody has different attitudes. So there will be some confrontation here and there, but you know, social media can be a beast sometimes, But the positive aspect is that because of the good exposure, the J-Settes have been able to do all these amazing things. And so that's why I'm kind of glad that we're doing that now. So like the funding, J-Settes need a lot of funding. I think is there. We work so hard. They work so hard, and they should be rewarded for what they do besides a small book scholarship. They should be, I don't think you can get paid to be a J-Sette, but as much work that we have done, I would be rich, because all of the hours, like they said, like practicing from 2 to 5 and 6 until, because of regulations, we didn't practice that long, but it's just, you put in a lot of hours into it, and they deserve a lot. So social media right now is doing wonders for them. So
yeah, I agree.
Hopefully it continues to do so.
That's awesome. So, you know, through the years, the J-Sette has been, as Dr. James would say, often imitated and never duplicated. How honored, and you know, I forgot who mentioned it, or I think it was Mary, and this is for all of y'all. How honored were you when you found out Beyonce used J-Sette styles and put a ring on it, or you all were included in the commercial with Sierra and the commercial with MAC Cosmetics? How honored? I mean, they could have chose anybody else. How honored did that make y'all feel, Miss Rita?
It made me feel wonderful. When she came out, I have to say this about the song, Put a Ring on It. When she came out with that song, it said a lot to young women, older women, about put it here. And she said, I mean, I can go on and on about that. But when she sung that song and she said some of the steps were taken from us, it was wonderful. I was delighted. I was happy. I don't even want to go any further, but it was just sensational. That's what I want to say. Okay. It was excellent.
Anybody else want to chime in?
First of all, Beyonce is my girl crush. Like lots of women, they won't admit it, but I will. You're right. She's the epitome of everything. But I just felt like it was amazing. It was, I think it was a tribute to us that was well deserved.
I agree.
That's true. So, and this question goes for all of you, and I want all, you know, when you all were performing, how did it feel when you saw little girls trying to imitate you? And were you that little girl at one time? Stephanie? Come on with that Vaughn smile. How did it make you feel when you saw little girls trying to dance like you?
I was honored. I was excited, and I be trying to show them.
And they watching you, march or come up that ramp. I'm sure that was pretty exciting. What about you, Afrishana?
Oh, very honored, excited. I was actually one of those little girls. Like I said, when I started out dancing, trying to mimic in our community groups, what the J-Sette did, and then just going on and then working with high school girls and, other people, and they idolizing you. It's a humbling experience, but it's a very, you feel very honored. You feel special. You feel loved.
Yeah, that's true.
I think we all, Sonia, have a person that we look up to, like they looked up to us. I had J-Sette Alumni, and I knew her because my family knew them. And like I said, she was, when I would watch her, all I wanted to be was J-Sette Alumni. I wouldn't even say I'm gonna be a J-Sette. I would say, y'all look, I'm J-Sette. That's what I would because see, her family knew my family, and she sometimes would babysit some of us when our parents would get together. She was supposed to keep us in the room so we wouldn't come out. And I just admired her. When we went to those games, I think I watched only her. And I just wanted to grow up and be J-Sette Alumni out there on that J-Sette field. So I think not only, like I said, the girls look at us and they have their one, we all have our one, you know. We all have our one that we wanted to be just like. I think I heard everybody say something like that about somebody around the corner that they watched. And we all had our one. And J-Sette Alumni was my one.
That's awesome.
And Sonia, to add to Miss Pam, we have our ones now, and I'm sure some of you all can attest to this. I mean, all of the girls that have come, behind me, they do a great job. I mean, I've been in their shoes, but you got that one or two person, people that you like, oh, I like her, I like her. So that's like your favorite, you love them all, but you still got that one, that you like. So
that's true. That's true though. You're right. Yeah. So, being a J-Sette hairstyle was like, that's major. That, and the styles have changed through the years. But I have one question. Which era stopped the ponytail? Because that's signature and classic. Is that gone completely?
We did the ponytails my era. I know we did it my freshman year.
Sampson?
Yeah. The Worthy era, I did them. We did them.
Yeah, we did them too. We had like, hair that style that was similar. I can remember when they had the Afro puffs. That's where I'm coming from. Rita,
Rita, you
had those Afro puffs.
Right. I was going to say we had the Afro hair, and I want to say the J-Sette Walk started with us in 1971, and the salt and pepper, all of that started with the legends, and we enjoyed every moment. The ponytail too, that started with us.
Okay.
So you all have, just like you said, you just improved on everything that was done in the beginning, and I'm telling you, we have all done a great job through the years. All of us have. Thank you for it.
Yes, y'all have.
Sonia,
it may have been. I was going to ask you, Anitra, if you wore it, was it in the latter part of this era that it kind of stopped as a group?
It started, we did it my freshman year, and we did it my sophomore year too, because my sophomore year, I remember having a ponytail at tryouts, and while I was out there dancing, my ponytail, at that time, they weren't the clip-on, they were the hair, the bundle, you just wrap it and pin it, wrap it and pin it, wrap and pin it. And my ponytail started coming down. And by the time I finished the dance, my twig was just at the top of my head.
Oh my.
And Miss Worthy told me, she said, had you stopped dancing, you would not be a J-Sette, because if you're on that field and that ponytail comes down,
You got to
you
keep
can't
going.
stop our show. You gotta keep going.
Wow, that's well, I'm glad you kept going, honey. I'm glad it wasn't a real show, but I'm glad you kept going. Ladies, before I let y'all go, it's a little game I play called You Can Get With This or You Can Get With That. And what it is, it's a way for the guests, for the listeners, as well as myself, to get to know the guests. So I ask a few questions and you just pick the one that best fits you, okay? It's easy, I promise. Did y'all, and everybody can answer. And since there's so many, I'm gonna just start with Miss Rita and then go around. Did you prefer, well, Miss Rita, I can't ask you this because you didn't do the ramp, but
No.
marching in, did you prefer marching in or the ramp?
I definitely preferred marching in because that's what we did. Yes. And it was always to get ready, just like it is now. We never used anything else other than get ready. And I was saying, hey, get out of my way, because here we come.
Here we come. Pam?
It was the marching in for me. I love the ramp, but it was that marching in that once they would see us and you'd hear that crowd roaring, as soon as they saw us, it started. And I would get those chill bumps like, oh yeah, here we come. Get ready. It was the marching in for me.
It was definitely the marching in, because as soon as get ready starts, the crowd's amped up and there's your energy right there.
Yeah.
It was definitely the marching in.
Marquise?
Definitely the marching in. As soon as you hear those drums tap off, I'm ready. So definitely
ready?
marching. Love the ramp, but yeah. Tap, 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 tap.
Steph?
Marching in.
Marching in. Afrishana?
You couldn't do anything else if you didn't march in, so definitely march in.
Hey.
You hear those whistles blowing and that tap, 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 you ready to go. So
Ready to go. Anitra?
Girl, I gotta say marching in, period.
Mary, are we gonna make it a
Well, I hate to say it, but I'm a ramp girl.
I believe it.
I love that's where you get down. That's where you, and they right there. It's like I'm looking you in your soul and I'm showing you what a J-Sette's supposed to do.
Yes. These new, look, she said, I'm looking you in your soul. I love it. I love it. Did you prefer performing to fast tunes or slow tunes? Miss Rita?
Fast.
Fast.
Yes.
Pam?
Fast.
Sharp.
Medium.
Medium.
Look it out.
Because sometimes the drummers would actually tap off too fast. Oh my God, you could barely get the movements in. And sometimes they would be too slow and you feel like you're dragging. So medium.
So one of the songs that's real fast, because I Go to Work by Kool Moe Dee. Dun, dun. That was a fast one too. So yeah. Marquise. Fast. Steph. Fast. I know. Afrishana.
fast.
She gonna get me. Anitra.
I like the slow tunes. I like the fast ones, but I like the slow tunes because we get to do our slow stands, and a lot of times they don't play a lot of slow songs during the day. So I like the slow. You get to be sexy and show off your moves, but Miss Worthy was like, y'all doing these sexy stands, but y'all better smile. Don't be having them sexy faces too.
Mary, I saw you moving, so
I love the slow because I'm so long. And when it's fast, I can't finish my moves. When I'm slow, I can, from the tip of my finger to the other tip of you will see it's everything.
I love it.
Love slow.
That's me. That's great. So tiptoe or salt and pepper? Miss Rita?
Salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper. Pam?
Salt and pepper.
Char?
Salt and pepper, and I have to thank Dorinda Lewis because that was the hardest march for me to get, and she stayed after practice with me a lot of days,
Wow.
fussing everything to get me salt and pepper in, but I got it.
You got it. Marquise,
Salt and pepper.
Steph,
What have I done?
Tiptoe.
tiptoe.
I love tiptoe.
Oh, I love that so much.
I
y'all.
love tiptoe.
That's my favorite. Oh, I love
Mine
it.
too.
Afrishana,
Salt and pepper, but I love J-Sette Walk too. Miss Janice worked me to death when she would come and help us. Rest her soul.
Anitra,
I like J-Sette Walk too, and I love Scarecrow, but salt and pepper.
salt and pepper. What is a scarecrow?
Oh,
Oh,
That's
yeah.
another
Okay.
form of tiptoe.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Mary.
Tiptoe.
Oh, I knew it already, boo. I knew it. She said tiptoe. So I don't know if I'm gonna ask anyway. I remember the Otis era for sure wearing this FloJo out uniform or the tiger print. Miss Rita.
We didn't do that at all.
Okay, so what did y'all have?
We had the halter back
Oh yeah,
dress,
yeah.
and
Mhm.
we had the swimsuit style. We had fringe. We always had a lot of fringe. And the first cape that we had stopped at the hip line. It covered the suit only and stopped at the hip line. And then the third year we got the long ones.
Okay, okay. All right, Pam.
One year we had some cowboy hats, and I'm trying to remember what it was that we had on with it. I know what it was. We had a sequence like bathing suit type, and I don't let me get telling you the name of no outfits because I don't remember them. But that outfit, I just thought we was just all. I thought we were all the way out there when we had those hats on, and when we had those Cowboys hats. And one year we had plumes. Miss Otis said she wanted us to have these little plumes on our head, and I might have been when we played Southern, because we was like, we finna bring the plumes to y'all. That's what we finna do. And we put those things on, and we had to practice with them on our head, and they stayed on there too. They stayed on our head, but that one that we wore with the cowboy hat was my favorite.
That was your favorite. Cool. Shar.
The tiger print, and we wore it. I think we played Alcorn my senior year. And we had this crawl that we had gotten together, y'all. We could not wait to do it. We got out on the field, and Dowell Taylor saw that. He was like, "Whoa, stop the music." He would not let us do that crawl. We were so disappointed. What? He would not let us do it. It was so sexy, too.
Oh, that was too much.
So we had to change it.
Wow, wow. Marquise?
I'd have to say Exotica. I know you said FloJo or Tiger, but Exotica was my favorite, my absolute favorite. And every
What is that one?
year, that's the silver one that's cut down the middle, kind of the back is all the way out. We only wear it it's like once a generation, but we got to wear Exotica. So that was
See,
my
I can remember, those are the only two I can remember right offhand. Stephanie? FloJo
I think I gotta go with my crab sister on that one, Exotica.
Okay.
And we did it one year. Remember we did it, we trimmed it with the fur?
With the fur.
With the fur around it.
We did that too.
Yeah, that suit was hot. That suit was hot, yeah.
And it had a good French cut.
Right.
Love a French cut.
Afrishana?
I have several favorites, but to answer your question, between Tiger Girl and the other one, Tiger Girl and we had Miss Worthy created another version of Tiger Girl in '99, but one of my other favorites is Shake Your Pants because it actually matched the song. We danced to the song and we wore pants.
Okay.
I like Tiger Girls most. We actually, my senior year, we debuted what the girls wore this past Saturday, the two-piece Tiger.
I love that.
That was my favorite. I like that one more than the original Tiger Girl.
And Mary.
But I like Tiger Girl, But my favorite uniform is Hollywood.
Tell
It's
me
a
what's
white,
that one?
it's a white leotard, and it has like it's a V cut that goes almost to the belly button, and it has silver sequins, and then the entire back is out. So like I know you know what the book is, but when you're doing a book, you really see the C because the entire back is out. And I love it. It makes me feel like I can really just get into my book really good.
Mary, I
So
need
this-
your phone number because you're gonna teach me these moves because Stephanie been tripping. I've been asking her for years. You my girl. You my girl. I love it. She said when you do the butt. Okay. Okay. Practice in the studio or practice on the field. Miss Rita?
Practice. I like both of them. But I need to just choose one on the field.
On the field. Pam?
I would say the studio because that field, I dreaded it because I knew we were gonna be there out there all night long, and they didn't have regulations for us.
That's right.
Okay, it was until Harold Holden said you get the show right, we would be out there till the morning if we had to. I don't care if you got exams, tests, or whatever. That didn't matter. There was no regulations, and I could not stand that field. Studio, I knew we'd get in there, get on out, but again, we had to go to that dreadful field.
Wow.
But I'm studio.
Studio, okay.
I'd say studio because you can see yourself and see what you're doing. Once you get out there on that field, a lot of times it's like you almost feel lost initially. So you got to really practice until you get it. So give me the studio.
Okay. Marquise?
Yeah, I agree studio because you
Studio.
can perfect it before you get out there and embarrass yourself too bad.
Okay. Steph?
Yeah.
What?
Take the
Oh.
Can't hear me?
No, you was
I
like,
said
yeah.
studio.
Oh, okay, so you was like, yeah.
Studio.
Okay. Afrishana?
I say, look, I always got to be extra. I say studio because, like many of them have already said, that's where you actually get to see yourself. You break down a routine, you can execute your moves, but then you need the field because that's what you actually gonna be doing on game day, and then you incorporate all the what you call, transition and moving from one left to way over here right. So the studio is my first choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anitra?
I like the field because it's close to time to go home.
Okay.
I hated practice. I had a boyfriend. I was ready to go. I was just ready for Saturday.
She said, I had a boyfriend. I'm ready to go.
Go.
Mary?
Friday night field, every other day studio.
Okay. Okay. Stand routine or field routines? Miss Rita?
Field.
Pam?
I think field. I like the field.
Char?
The field. More eyes.
More eyes.
100%.
Right. Marquise?
I think I'm gonna have to change. I'm gonna say stands because you get to kind of show your creativity, fast, slow, medium, whatever you're doing. There's a little bit of a change up.
Okay. Steph?
Field.
Field. Afrishana?
Field, cameras, lights, action. Field.
Anitra?
Stands because they last longer.
Look, here we go. What you got, Mary?
Stands.
Huh?
Stands, because I want you to see my slow stuff.
Okay. We hanging out. I love it. I love it. My mom almost finished. Because y'all had to make weight. Fried chicken, what did you miss the most? Fried chicken or macaroni? Miss Rita?
I missed nothing because she worked us so hard. Anything we ate, it left. I mean, we ate whatever we wanted to eat because we knew that Shirley was going to work us, and then work us again.
Oh,
We
wow.
left the practice like we were football players. Every muscle in our body was hurting and everything was streamlined. So we missed no meals. We ate just like normal.
Okay, well, that's good. Pam?
Okay, you wouldn't know it today, but I was actually on probation because I had to do a weight gain. I
Oh,
was too
wow.
small. You wouldn't know it today, but I was too small and I was going to be cut if I didn't get up to a certain weight. I had lost a lot of
Oh.
weight from practicing
Mm,
and
mhm.
I had to do a weight gain. So I didn't miss anything. I had to really start eating some stuff so I could put weight back on me. But that practice took the weight off of me. I didn't go in that size. It was the practice.
And plus, we were so young then, you know, your metabolism's so fast. That's true.
Yeah.
Right.
Where is it now? I need it back.
Girl, I need it now immediately. Shar?
Well, like Pam, I had to gain weight, so Miss Otis would give me half of her Stamps burger and a Snicker many days.
Marquise?
I'd say the fried chicken. I did mostly baked stuff, but I wasn't on a weight penalty or anything. It's just self-imposed.
Mhm.
Yeah, I understand. Steph?
Both.
That's right, 'cause you was eating baked chicken and green beans.
Both.
Afrishana?
Fried chicken. I didn't have any problems with weight. I was always with 114, 115. But sometimes we would cut back to try to help our sisters, you know, some things that they couldn't eat. If we didn't want to you know, tempt them and entice. So we would try to work together sometimes now. Sometimes we just pick out, but
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Anitra?
Neither, because I don't eat chicken or cheese. My struggle was candy.
Oh, wow.
Yep. I had a problem with sweets.
Little Mary? You probably did.
I snuck them. And it showed. But it's okay because Miss Crowley still worked it out.
I'm sure she did. I'm sure she did. Two more, y'all. Two more. Who did you like performing against most? Southern Dancing Dolls or Alcorn Golden Girls? Miss Rita?
Southern Dancing Dolls.
That's what
Period.
Period.
Yes. Yes.
I agree.
We love
Southern-
dancing against
Southern
them
Dancing Dolls.
because we were ready. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pam, so Pam, you said Southern. Shar?
I said the Golden Girls because we were allowed to get a little more raunchy with them.
Yeah, because they used
And Miss
to
Otis
be.
didn't let us do a whole lot. But we could loosen up a little bit against the Golden Girls.
Okay, okay. Marquise?
The dolls.
The Dolls?
Definitely
Okay.
the dolls.
F?
Um,
Dolls. Afrishana? Afrishana, I'm sorry, girl.
oh, that's a hard one, girl. I'm gonna say the Dolls.
I thought you was gonna say Alcorn because they were near you, so you would show them like.
Yeah, but the Dolls, we got to show, you know, I mean, we're not as technical as they are, but we actually got to show our skills. The Golden Girls, I mean, yeah, they're our biggest rival, and they're down the street from where I am. And I did know some people on the squad. Like Charlotte said, we got to get a little raunchy, not too much, but yeah.
Right. Okay. Nitra?
Probably the Dancing Doll. Well, the Golden Girls, I guess.
The Golden Girls?
Neither really. Nobody compared to us. But
Right.
if I had to
Mhm.
choose,
Right. No, I agree. I just want like who did you like to compete against to show them that you was better? So the Dolls, the Golden Girls? Okay. Mary? I can't. What'd she say?
Golden Girls.
Okay, I can hear you now. Golden Girls. Okay. Okay. Last but not least, which ones did you like to perform? Homecoming game, and this one even. So I'll just use another one because you weren't. Did you like performing at homecoming game or Southern Heritage Classic? But I can't use that for you, Miss Rita. So I give homecoming game and maybe Alcorn game?
Always homecoming.
Always homecoming?
Yes.
Pam?
Homecoming. Yep.
Shar? She muted, so I'm thinking that's homecoming.
Without a doubt.
And my husband came in, so I muted.
Hey,
Alcorn for
Glenn.
me.
Homecoming? Okay.
Alcorn.
What? So Alcorn, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, because I'm from Natchez, and there were a lot of people who would be there from Natchez, so it was definitely Alcorn.
Okay, I got
To me, homecoming was just too long with all the ceremonial stuff. I didn't like all that.
No, I feel you. I feel you. Marquise?
I think Alcorn for me, because it represented the end of that era. That season was over, and that was it. We told us used to let us let our hair down, and it was done. Hey, this is it. When you hit this game, let's do it. So,
wow. Okay. All right. Steph?
Homecoming.
Homecoming.
Yeah.
Afrishana?
You said homecoming and Southern Heritage Classic.
That was the original one. Yeah.
Okay, so homecoming between those two.
Homecoming. Okay. Anitra?
Homecoming.
Mary?
Homecoming.
Homecoming. Okay. Ladies, it has been an honor. Thank y'all so much. This has been such a blast for me. I've had an extremely good time. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really, really appreciate it. We are so excited for you guys. Congratulations again on 50 amazing, beautiful years of the Jake Prince and J-Settes. And I will be in the stands since apparently I cannot be with y'all. So I may have on a tiger print outfit. Who knows? With a FloJo. I don't know. I may just do it and just sit there. But I will, the fans, we're excited. We're waiting for you guys October 16th. So thank you so much again. And guys, please follow me. She Says Sports on Facebook. She Says Sports 23 on IG. At She Say 23 on Twitter. And please subscribe to our YouTube page, She Say Sports. Well, that's my show for today. Until next time, this is Sonia with She Say Sports.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thanks for having us.